This is the wedding bag I made using real abalone shells. In this video, I'll walk you through how I shaped the shells and turned them into this unique piece. The main focus is on sanding the abalone, since that's where most of the transformation happens. The shells I used have a greenish color, and you can already see the mother of pearl on the back side. Because of the thick outer layer, the mother of pearl looks a bit different, less bright when sanded down. I experimented a lot and I used citric acid to pre-fade the outer color, but I'd recommend it being very cautious with that, since acid dissolves the calcium carbonate of the shells, and it's still a lot of work to sand down each layer until the mother of pearl finally reveals itself. So if you're just starting out, I wouldn't risk dissolving my shells with acid. And on this shell, you can already see that some areas are exposed faster than others. So it's better to work slowly because the shells can break easily. Before we start, a quick safety note. Sanding abalone shells creates fine dust that can be harmful if inhaled. Please always wear protective goggles and a respirator mask. And whenever possible, work with water to keep dust levels down. I really enjoyed working with this rotary tool from Dremel. For this step, I'm using a sanding band with 120 grit, which is more of a medium grit. I usually start by sanding across the whole shell to get a sense of where the outer layer is the thickest. I've already started working on this shell, but since the process takes a lot of time, I'll explain the concept so you can try it yourself. Abalone shells have a lot of curves and bumps, and the rotary tool is perfect for reaching those smaller areas. The outer curves are usually where the shell's surface is the thinnest, and the best approach is to go lightly over each area first and see how quickly the layer comes off. The sanding machine is quite loud, so I'll let you watch parts of the process without commentary, but I'll still guide you through the main steps. I often read that you should start with a coarse grit to remove the outer layer and then move on to finer grits for the shine. That didn't work so well for me, so I stayed mostly with the 120 grit, which felt like a good balance. So this process takes patience, and every shell has its own pattern. And I experimented with how much of each layer to remove until the mother of pearl finally revealed itself. As long as you work slowly and take off each layer step by step, you'll be fine. So for now, I'll let you listen to the sound of the sanding. After exposing the mother of pearl, I switched to my drill with a sanding bit and smoothed everything out. At this stage, I moved up to finer grits, up to 600, to refine the surface and prepare the shells for the final step. And then I added a layer of lacquer to keep the shells shiny and protected. As a last step, I drilled a few extra holes into some of the shells so I could add more stitches and secure them properly to the fabric. For this, I used a diamond drill bit with my Dremel. This step felt like the most difficult one for me because I was afraid that the shells would break if I applied too much pressure. I think it looks worse in the video than it actually is when I slip with the drill, but even here these things happen, and in the end I didn't even notice the spots anymore. I sanded down a total of 22 shells, and once all the shells were ready, I moved on to the bag itself. First, I sketched the design and transferred it onto a thicker silk fabric so it could carry the weight of the shells and the pearls. I first arranged the shells to see how they would work together, and then started with the outer border and the handle border and beaded pearls along those lines. After that, I attached the shell pieces one by one and finally filled all the gaps between with pearls. Then I sewed everything together. I don't show that in this video, but I'm happy to do so if you're interested. And that's how this Abalone wedding bag came together. A mix of careful sanding and slow stitching. It took a lot of time, but the final result feels very personal and unique. I hope this inspires you to try working with natural materials in your own projects.